In just a matter of days, in the middle of a bright summer afternoon, the sky over parts of our planet is going to do something extraordinary, something that will make birds fall silent, temperatures suddenly drop, stars appear in the daytime, and the sun itself vanish from the sky behind a perfect black disk. And for one nation in particular, standing beneath this event, it will be a sight that not a single living person among them has ever witnessed with their own eyes. Because the last time this happened over mainland Spain was in the year 1905, 121 years ago. No one alive in Spain today was born the last time their sky went dark like this. So when it happens on August the 12th, it won't just be beautiful. It will be historic. A moment generations have waited for, arriving at last. So today, we're going to break down exactly what's about to happen, where you'll be able to see it, what it will actually look and feel like, and how you can safely witness one of the rarest and most awe-inspiring spectacles the sky can offer. No exaggeration needed here. This is one of those rare cases where the real event is even more breathtaking than any headline could capture. This is pure wonder, and I can't wait to share it with you. But before we dive in, do me one quick favor, because it genuinely helps this channel. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from, and whether you've ever seen a total solar eclipse with your own eyes. If you have, tell me what it felt like, because people who've witnessed totality say it's unlike anything else in life. And if you want to make sure you never miss an incredible sky event like this one, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it takes 1 second, and it means you'll always know when the universe is about to put on a show. A thumbs up helps push this out to more people who deserve to see it. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with what's actually happening up there, because it helps to understand the mechanics of this cosmic clockwork. What we're talking about is a total solar eclipse. It happens when the moon passes directly between the Earth and the sun, lining up so perfectly that it completely blocks out the sun's blazing face, casting its shadow onto the surface of our planet. Now, the moon passes between us and the sun once a month. That's what a new moon is. But because the moon's orbit is tilted slightly, it usually passes a little above or below the sun from our point of view, and nothing dramatic happens. Only on rare occasions does everything line up with the precision required for the moon to score a direct hit and completely cover the sun. And even when it does, the moon's shadow, the zone of total darkness called the umbra, is small, tracing only a narrow path across the Earth's surface. To witness the full spectacle, totality, you have to be standing inside that narrow path. Step outside it, and you'll see only a partial eclipse. That's what makes seeing a total solar eclipse from any specific place so rare. The geometry has to be just right, and the shadow has to fall exactly where you're standing. So let's talk about this specific event, the total solar eclipse of August the 12th, 2026, and trace its path across the world. The moon's shadow will race across the top of the planet in the late afternoon and evening hours. It begins over the remote Arctic Ocean, sweeps across the vast icy expanse of Greenland, then crosses Iceland, a land of volcanoes and glaciers that will be plunged into an eerie twilight. From there, the shadow races out across the North Atlantic Ocean before making its grand finale over land. It crosses northern Spain and clips the extreme northeastern tip of Portugal right around sunset. And this is where the historic significance really lands. For Spain, this is the first total solar eclipse visible from the mainland since August of 1905. Think about that. The last time the people of mainland Spain could witness their sun go completely dark, it was before the First World War, before television, before almost anyone alive today was born. An entire century and then some has passed. This is a genuinely once-in-many-generations event for that nation. It's also Europe's first total solar eclipse visible from the mainland since 1999, and it's the first total solar eclipse anywhere on Earth in more than 2 years, since the famous eclipse that crossed North America in April of 2024. One fascinating quirk of this eclipse is how differently it unfolds depending on where along the path you stand because of the time of day. For a small, remote stretch of northern Russia, totality arrives around the middle of the day, with the sun relatively high. Over Greenland and Iceland, the sun goes dark in the late afternoon or early evening, and by the time the shadow reaches Spain and that corner of Portugal, the sun is very low, hanging just above the western horizon in the late evening, shortly before it would set. This means that no one, anywhere along the entire path, gets to see totality with the sun high overhead. The moon's shadow only skims across the very top of the northern hemisphere, clipping the edge of the world. That geometry is part of what makes this eclipse unusual. And it's exactly why the low horizon views from Spain and Iceland are expected to be so dramatic and photogenic. It's an eclipse that hugs the horizon. Now, let's get to the best part, what it will actually look and feel like to stand beneath this, because a total solar eclipse is a genuinely overwhelming, multisensory experience, unlike anything else in nature. It doesn't happen all at once. First comes the partial phase, which lasts over an hour. During this time, if you're watching safely, you'll see the black disk of the moon slowly take a bite out of the sun, and that bite grows and grows. For a long while, though, the daylight around you barely seems to change. The sun is so brilliant that even a sliver of it keeps the world lit. But then, in the final minutes before totality, everything accelerates and transforms. The light takes on a strange, silvery, unsettling quality. Shadows grow sharp and weird. The temperature drops noticeably, sometimes by 10 degrees or more, as the sun's warmth is cut off. Animals grow confused. Birds may go quiet or return to roost, thinking night has fallen. This sudden reaction from the natural world is one of the most haunting parts of the whole experience. Crickets may begin to chirp. Cows have been observed heading back toward their barns. Flowers can start to close. Bees return to their hives. For a few surreal minutes, an entire ecosystem is fooled into believing that night has arrived hours early, and then, just as abruptly, tricked back into daytime. It's a vivid, living demonstration of just how deeply the rhythm of the sun is woven into every creature on this planet, including us. And then, in the last few seconds before totality, the final blazing point of sunlight shines through a valley on the edge of the moon, creating a brilliant flash known as the diamond ring, a dazzling jewel of light set upon a glowing ring. And then it's gone. Totality. The sun's bright face is completely blocked, and suddenly you can safely look up at something almost no words can capture. A black hole in the sky where the sun used to be, ringed by the shimmering, pearly white glow of the sun's outer atmosphere, the corona streaming out into space. It's a sight that's normally invisible to us, drowned out by the sun's glare, revealed only in these precious moments. Stars and planets pop into view in the darkened daytime sky. A 360-degree sunset glows all around the horizon. People who witness it often describe being moved to tears, to gasps, to cheering. It's that profound. And then, after a brief precious window, the diamond ring flashes again on the other side, and daylight comes rushing back. There are even subtler phenomena to watch for in those final seconds, the kind that seasoned eclipse watchers live for. Just before and after totality, you may see Bailey's beads, a string of brilliant points of light around the edge of the moon, created by the last rays of sunlight streaming through the valleys and craters along the moon's rugged surface, like a glittering necklace. And in the moments right before totality, sharp-eyed observers sometimes spot shadow bands, faint, wavering ripples of light and dark that race across the ground and walls, like the shimmer at the bottom of a swimming pool, caused by the last thin sliver of sunlight passing through Earth's turbulent atmosphere. These are fleeting, delicate details that make each eclipse feel alive and unrepeatable. And I want to try to convey the emotional weight of it, because this is the part that genuinely surprises people. A total solar eclipse is not like looking at a pretty sunset or a nice full moon. People who have stood in the path of totality, including hardened scientists who study this for a living, routinely describe it as one of the most powerful experiences of their entire lives. There's something primal about watching the sun, the source of all light and warmth, simply vanish from the sky in the middle of the day. It bypasses the intellect and hits something deep and ancient in us. Strangers hug, people weep, crowds fall silent and then erupt. It's why eclipse chasers travel the globe, spending years and fortunes to stand in that shadow for 2 minutes. Again and again. Because once you've felt it, you understand that no photograph, no video, no description can substitute for being there. This is the experience awaiting those in the path on August the 12th. Now, I have to be honest about the duration, because it's part of what makes this eclipse special in its own way. This is a relatively short total eclipse. At the point of maximum eclipse, out over the North Atlantic between Greenland and Iceland, totality lasts about 2 minutes and 18 seconds. For most people along the path, it'll be under 2 minutes. Compare that to the Great North American Eclipse of 2024, which offered over 4 minutes of totality in places. So this one is briefer, but it has a spectacular trick up its sleeve that could make it even more beautiful. In Spain and Iceland, the eclipse happens in the late afternoon and evening, with the sun hanging low in the western sky, just a few degrees above the horizon. That means observers could witness the surreal, unforgettable sight of a black, eclipsed sun sitting just above a darkened landscape. An eclipse and a near sunset blended into one dramatic scene. Photographers and eclipse chasers are especially excited about this because a low horizon eclipse can be extraordinarily photogenic, with the eclipsed sun framed against mountains, coastlines, or city skylines. And here's a genuinely magical bonus that makes this eclipse even more special. August the 12th is also the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, one of the best and most beloved meteor showers of the entire year. Normally, the Perseids can be washed out by moonlight, but because this eclipse happens at a new moon, the nights around it will be beautifully dark, making for one of the best Perseid displays in years. And here's the tantalizing possibility. Because the sky goes dark during totality, There's a genuine chance that someone standing in the path of totality could see a Perseid meteor streak across the sky during the eclipse itself. A shooting star during a total solar eclipse, that's the kind of once-in-a-lifetime stars-aligning moment that astronomy dreams are made of. So who exactly gets to see all this, and what will you see from where you are? Let me break it down, because the answer depends entirely on your location. The full, jaw-dropping total eclipse, totality, is only visible from within that narrow path I described. Parts of the Arctic, Greenland, Iceland, a sliver of northern Russia, and northern Spain, along with the tiny corner of Portugal. Only about 15 million people actually live within that path of totality. But an enormous number of people, nearly 1 billion, roughly 1 in every 8 people on Earth, live in the much wider region that will experience at least a partial eclipse, where the moon takes a visible bite out of the sun without fully covering it. Across the UK and Ireland, for example, observers will see a deep partial eclipse in the early evening, with the moon covering something like 90 to 96% of the sun. A dramatic sight in its own right, even if it's not the full experience of totality. Much of the rest of Europe, parts of North Africa, and even the northeastern edge of North America will catch at least a slight partial eclipse. So, depending on where you are, you might witness the full glory of totality, a deep and dramatic partial, or a subtle nibble at the sun's edge. But a huge share of humanity will get to share in this event in some form. Now, this is the most important practical part of the entire video, so please pay close attention, because it's about protecting your eyes. Looking directly at the sun is dangerous and can cause permanent eye damage, and that danger does not go away just because part of the sun is covered. During all the partial phases of the eclipse, which is what the vast majority of viewers will see for the entire event, you must never look directly at the sun without proper protection. And to be crystal clear, regular sunglasses do not count. They are not remotely strong enough. You need certified eclipse glasses or handheld solar viewers that meet the proper safety standard, specifically designed to block the overwhelming intensity of direct sunlight. Put them on before you look, keep them on the entire time you're viewing any part of the partial eclipse, and make sure children are supervised. There's exactly one exception, and it applies only to people inside the path of totality. During those brief moments of totality itself, when the moon has completely covered the sun's bright face, and only then, it is safe to look directly at the eclipse with the naked eye. In fact, that's the only way to truly see the corona in all its glory. But the instant the diamond ring flashes and the sun begins to reappear, the glasses must go back on immediately. If you're anywhere in the partial eclipse zone and never experienced totality, then there's never a safe moment to look without protection. I get it. Keep those glasses on the whole time. And if you don't have eclipse glasses, there's a wonderful safe alternative, a pinhole projector. You can make one easily by poking a small hole in a piece of card and letting the sunlight pass through it onto another surface, which projects a small image of the eclipsed sun that you can watch safely. Even the dappled light coming through the leaves of a tree will project dozens of tiny crescent suns onto the ground. A beautiful, safe way to experience it. So how can you actually witness this, wherever you are in the world? If you happen to be in or able to travel to the path of totality, Iceland and northern Spain being the most accessible spots for most people, you're in for the experience of a lifetime. Though, be aware these areas are expecting huge crowds of eclipse chasers, so planning ahead is essential. In fact, in the towns along the path in Spain and in Iceland, hotels and accommodation have been booking up far in advance. Roads are expected to be packed, and local authorities are preparing for a surge of visitors descending on small communities for those precious 2 minutes. If you're planning to travel, it's genuinely last minute now, and you'll want a solid plan for where you'll stand and how you'll get there. There's also one factor entirely out of everyone's control: the weather. A total solar eclipse is only visible if the sky is clear at that exact moment. A bank of clouds rolling in at the wrong time can hide the whole thing. This is the eternal gamble of eclipse chasing, and it's why experienced observers often stay mobile, ready to drive to a clearer patch of sky at the last minute. Iceland and northern Spain in August each carry their own weather odds. So anyone traveling should keep a close eye on the forecast in the days before and be prepared to be flexible. It adds a note of suspense to the whole adventure, but when the clouds cooperate, the reward is unforgettable. If you're in the partial zone, get yourself some certified eclipse glasses and find a spot with a clear view toward the sun. And if you're nowhere near any of it, like most of the world, including most of North America, don't worry, because you can still be part of it. Major space agencies, including the European Space Agency and NASA, along with countless astronomers and observatories, will be live streaming the eclipse online, so anyone on the planet with an internet connection can watch totality unfold in real time from the best vantage points. It's a beautiful way to share in a moment that, in person, only a lucky few can reach. And here's a wonderful note to end on for anyone who catches the eclipse bug. This August event is just the beginning of a remarkable run. Spain, in particular, is entering a golden age of eclipses. This total eclipse in 2026 is actually the first of a series of solar eclipses visible from Spain over the following couple of years. After more than a century of waiting, the country is about to get a spectacular sequence of these events in short succession. So if you miss this one, or if it lights a fire in you, there will be more chances coming soon. The universe, it seems, is finally rewarding Spain's long patience. Here's the honest bottom line. On August the 12th, 2026, the moon will slide perfectly in front of the sun, casting its shadow across the Arctic, Greenland, Iceland, and northern Spain. And for the people of mainland Spain, it will be a sight no living soul among them has ever seen, the first since 1905. More than a century in the making. Those lucky enough to stand in the path of totality will experience the daytime turning to twilight, the sun replaced by a black disk crowned with its shimmering corona, stars appearing overhead, and perhaps even a Perseid meteor streaking through the darkness. Nearly 1 billion people will witness at least a partial eclipse. It is rare, it is real, it is genuinely one of the most beautiful spectacles nature can produce. And now you know exactly what's happening, where to see it, and how to witness it safely. Whether you travel to the path, watch a deep partial from your backyard, or tune into a live stream from across the world, this is a moment worth looking up for. I'm going to be following this eclipse all the way. The final path details, the weather forecasts for the viewing zones, the best live streams, and everything you need to catch it. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, subscribe so you don't miss an update, because a sight like this only comes around once in a very long while, and being ready is everything. Hit that like button to help this reach more people who deserve to witness it. Share it with someone who loves the sky. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And will you be able to see any of this eclipse where you are? Tell me. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep your eyes on the sky, protect them when you do, and get ready, because the universe is about to put on a show that no one alive has ever seen.